How much time do you spend playing video or computer games?
Not much. Once a week maybe with my little brother.
I do not play video games or computer games, not at all.
I don't play video games at all.
On the computer, I spend a couple of hours after school on it. Video games, I don't play too much.
I'll say 3 hours, maybe 4 if I have nothing to do.
From 3 to 5 hours every day.
14, or even 15 hours a day.
23 hours a day.
I don't have time for that. All I have time is for my girls. That's why we're over here in Seaside.
I used to play a lot, but now I kind of cut down a lot because of school and work.
Maybe like 5 hours a week.
I got this new video game. It's called Oblivion. It has about 400 hours of gameplay and good 20 hours a day. You know, on a weekend or so. Pretty much have no life.
Do you believe that playing video or computer games can be addictive? Why or why not?
Yes, playing video games and any type of games can be addictive. Like the games over here, like people just keep playing and keep playing until you win. So I don't know what they have, but they're addictive.
Yeah, they could be addicting.
No, not at all.
Why not?
I don't know. I just don't find them addictive. There's no nicotine in it.
Definitely, my brother's addicted to video games and computer games all day for hours.
Yeah, my little brother plays like every day.
No, some of these games, once you get hooked, you just can't stop. I'm a victim of that myself. Once I get into a game, I just can't stop until it's over. It's bad.
You just get into it. Because you get like into it and then enjoying it, and then it's your only focus. You want to keep going and pass the level or get to the next board or whatever.
Like let's say if you're in the urge of beating a video game and you're on the limit, like, oh, I gotta finish it today, and then you just keep dying and you gotta trying to do it again. It's like you must finish the game. Like that's it. You have it in your head that you have to finish it that day. Like there's certain times I'll stay up till like 3 in the morning trying to beat a game.
You know, compared to most people, I don't really play video games that much.
Yeah, me either. But like, I know someone, you know, he was like borderline addiction, I guess. And then his parents like got him a computer for his room, and now he like doesn't leave. So it's like a bad situation.
Yeah. For most people who play video games, the games are considered one of the many recreational activities from which they can choose.
Video games provide entertainment and distraction from the stresses of everyday life.
But for some, video games can become much more than that.
They can become an alternate reality into which people retreat, often leaving behind their real lives, real friends, and family.
When video game playing moves beyond the fun and distraction stage, it can become an addiction.
Video game addiction. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Jess.
And I'm Jack.
And this is Realfaith TV.
Dr. Joseph Keeley, an Orlando pediatrician, was quoted in an interview with the Orlando Sentinel and said that he had seen evidence of addiction to video games.
There are some kids who clearly act like they're addicted, and when you take them off, they'll go through withdrawal.
They'll get irritable and hard to live with.
Our Spotlight guest Marco has seen similar behaviors in a friend who he believes is addicted to video games.
He will share the story of his friend who has dropped out of life and spends almost all his time in his house playing online video games.
We'll meet him later in the show and find out what kind of gaming experiences our studio guests have.
But first, let's go back to the teens in the street and find out which games they think are most addictive.
I think the most popular game that everybody's addicted to is Halo. And that's a shooting game, so you know that's violent. It's crazy. People, I don't know, man. I don't like watching TV or nothing like that, so I wouldn't know.
Like RPG games, like let's say World of Warcraft or like Star Ocean, like anything like that, because like there's always more to do in the game. Like there's never like really an end to it. So like you just keep going with it.
Pretty much the games with all the big storylines and stuff like that, you get like so into it that you just can't stop until you finished it.
Games with a lot of levels.
I would say like maybe war games and like adventure games where you got like different levels. For me, basketball games or like shooting games.
Football for men or stuff like that, I don't know.
Guitar Hero.
Why?
Because you get to play a guitar.
Counter-Strike for the computer and Halo 2 for Xbox.
It's just a matter of who likes what games, like racing or fighting games.
I have games like Oblivion, which I think I'm addicted to, so they can be addictive.
I guess because they like, I don't know, they get real hooked on it, so like, it's like, it draws you in, it gets addicting, like you keep playing and playing and you won't stop, like, and that could be a real problem because like, you could forget to do stuff, you could like, you stop doing things you normally do because you're playing the game all the time.
You know, I know this game World of Warcraft, which is really addictive, and like all my friends play it. They'll be up till like 5, 6 in the morning, you know, and they see the sun come up. They're like, oh, I guess it's time to go to bed. But I mean, the main reason that they play it a lot is because everyone plays it, you know, like all my friends. So they get together and play it. So it's kind of like hanging out with your friends, you know.
Let's meet our studio guests and find out if they spend much time playing video games.
They are
Keishi, Chris, Vince, Matt, Phil, and Kim.
So, how much time do you spend playing video games?
I really don't spend that much time. I usually play maybe 2.5 to 3 hours with my little brothers. So.
I don't play video games at all. I'm not addicted to it.
I definitely play more video games than I should.
I usually play when I'm bored. It just kind of gives you something to do.
Yeah, usually if a new game comes out and I think it's good, I'll get it, I'll play it. I'll beat it in a couple days and I won't touch it again.
Yeah, I'm sort of like Phil. I'll have a video game craving where I will sit there, look at my TV and video game system and say, I haven't played that in 3 weeks. Let me go play that. For that week, I'll be on that game and then I'll get bored of it and go read a book.
So you guys think video games can be addictive?
It just depends on how much you're playing it. If it's a good enough game where you can play it for a while, then it becomes addictive. But if it's a game where you get stuck on the same level, you kind of have to take a break from it, or at least in my case, I have to take a break because I just can't do it anymore.
My brother, he plays video games a lot, but he doesn't put his stuff aside. He does that first, then he plays it like all day.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. And now, with the handheld ones like the PSP, you can just put them in your pocket and bring them anywhere. You don't have to hook it up to anywhere, so I think they could be addictive.
It's definitely easy to get addicted. They're so accessible nowadays, so you can just play a game anytime you want to.
In a recent policy meeting, the American Medical Association fell short of declaring video game addiction as a legitimate medical condition.
They said that more study needed to be done before they could take that step.
AMA President Dr. Ronald Davis said, however, that they do remain concerned about behavioral health and societal effects of video game and internet overuse.
He added that we urge parents to closely monitor children's use of video games and the internet.
Our spotlight guest Marco understands how someone can be addicted to video games. He thought he might have had an addiction when he was younger.
Let's meet him now and find out why he believes online video games can be even more addictive than regular video games.
Video game addictions are so widespread. People mostly talk about drinking problems and drug problems, but this is so prevalent. As I've gotten older, I've gotten away from video games and computer games a little bit, but if I go maybe a year back, I probably played video games up to like 5 hours a day, especially over the summer. With like the online interface and stuff like that, it's really hard to like step away. Yeah, it definitely can be addictive. Maybe 5 years ago, before online use was invented, it would have been easier to step away from games, but because once you beat the game, then there was not as much draw to the game. Now, even though you beat the game, that's not even why people buy the game anymore. They buy it to beat up people all around the country. And you're never gonna, like, there's only one person that's gonna be the best in the country, but everyone strives for that position. So it's just a constant, like, weekly struggle to be better and better and better. So it really never ends. Like the old Mario games, you finish the game and that was it. But this is never ending.
World of Warcraft and EverQuest are two of the most popular massive multiplayer online role-playing games, or MMORPGs.
In these games, an alternate world is created and gamers can log on, explore, and build virtual relationships.
It isn't uncommon for someone involved in playing these games or other MMORPGs to log 30 hours a week playing.
Let's go back to the teens on the street and find out if they have any friends who are addicted to video games.
And what they think some of the signs of addiction may be.
Are you or any of your friends addicted to playing video games?
Yeah, a lot of them.
All of them are addicted.
No.
No?
Just my brother.
Yeah, my brother is. Actually, my cousin. He's very addicted. Like, every day, right when he gets home from work, he plays video games. He stays up till like 5 in the morning playing video games.
I'm gonna say me and all my friends probably go into spurts of being addicted to video games. Like every once in a while, we get hooked and we just can't stop.
Nah, I'm not addicted. I know a couple people that are.
What are some of the signs of video game addiction?
I don't know, if they play video games more than 12 hours a day. So I'm addicted. I play 23 hours.
That's all they're talking about, and they're always racing to get home so they can play it and stuff like that. And they're just trying to like relate themselves to characters. It's really, really weird. I'm not gonna lie.
They shake before they play, and then when the controller's in their hand, they're good.
Red Bull cans all over their floor. Light sensitivity. You probably won't see them out here. They probably burn up. Very pale skin. Twitchy hands, I guess, from the Red Bull.
They want to play the game all day, and if they don't get it, they're going to be cranky or mean.
They don't want to be bothered. They want to play it all the time instead of doing other things.
It's them and the TV. That's it. And then, like, if you ask them something while they playing or something, like, they'll just ignore you or they'll give you attitude or whatever, and they
don't want to be bothered for hours at a time. They'll even say no to eat for food. They won't eat. They won't leave the rooms. They won't go out.
They're like always in the house playing the game instead of like outside.
Sort of like solitary.
They rush to go home and play their games, you know. They don't spend time on the streets anymore.
They act very hyper, and like that's all they talk about, think about, and some games can make people like more violent and stuff, I believe.
I don't see them at school as much. They stay up constantly. Sometimes I'll turn on my Xbox. It'll be like 1 in the morning. I see like 4 people online. I'm like, what are you guys doing up? It's like I'm trying to play. I'm trying to beat this game. It's like, all right.
So do any of you think you're addicted or have any friends who are addicted to video games?
And what are some of the signs that someone might be addicted to video games?
I have a couple friends who I think definitely are addicted. That's pretty much all they talk about. All they want to do is play their video games, and it kind of worries me.
I have my neighbor. I wouldn't consider him like full throttle addicted, like the guy that said like 20 hours a day, 23 hours a day. He doesn't do that basically, but he stays up until like 3 in the morning playing this game, and then like I'll go outside looking for him to see if he wants to like shoot hoops or something, and he's just dead as can be, tired, and can't. He just sits there. So
yeah, like in my old school, I used to sit at this table, and all the kids there, all they talked about was role-playing games. They were like really addicted, like that's all they ever talked about.
Back in elementary school and junior high, you know, everybody was into video games, you know, that 8th grade year. But once I entered high school, my friends and I sort of grew out of the video game phase. We still play them, of course, you know, they're great. But, you know, you find other activities to do, you know, clubs and, you know, just hanging out with friends.
My good friend, about 1/3 of his basement is all of his video game equipment and games and stuff. And then you think that's got to be it, but then you go up into his room, there's a computer and another video game system, so he's pretty addicted, I would say.
Yeah, I have some friends who are really addicted, and they go beyond just the video game. Like, they bought the soundtrack to the video game, and they put it in their car, so now they like ride around listening to the soundtrack of the video game. It's pretty ridiculous.
Marco's friend was active in their youth group and played sports.
But while Marco and his other friends grew out of the video game phase, his friend got deeper into it.
Let's hear his story now.
Since most of us have gotten away from being addicted to video games, but one of my friends still is, and it's actually really bad. He plays Warcraft on the computer and Halo Online and now he got 360, so he plays all other kinds of games online. And he actually dropped out of school. And I've only talked to him once in the past month because I text him and he doesn't answer, and I call him and he doesn't answer. He's like got a lot of troubles in his life, so he turns to video games for like instead of faith or something more like productive. And I think that's a big part that led to dropping out of school because instead of doing his work, he was focusing on being better, like getting the next level. That became his life. My friend has definitely gained weight. His skin is so white, like a ghost, because he never goes outside. It's almost like scary to look at him. He used to be the starting center on our grade school basketball team. He was a decent athlete at every sport, and now he just sits on the couch all day and plays video games.
Marco's friend displayed some of the obvious signs of video game addiction. He didn't just fall behind in school, he dropped out.
And he isolated himself from his friends and family.
Some other signs of video game addiction may be that they sneak and lie about game playing.
They may throw temper tantrums when parents place limits on their game playing time.
And they may also fall asleep in class or at work because they've been up all night playing video games.
Let's go back to Marco's story and find out some of the other effects video games had on his friend's life.
He definitely ended up having a harsher vocabulary, a quicker temper, because in the game, so you get grenaded, you get really mad in that instant. So then if something little happened in life, you would get really angry at that split second. So it might quicken your temper. My friend used to call us like every weekend and during the week to go out to dinner, hang out, and even call me over to play video games, which was pretty cool. But now, he doesn't even do that anymore. He just lost all of his social life completely because I was his best friend and now he doesn't call me anymore. But it really is a problem because in my mind, he doesn't really have that many friends anymore because he doesn't call anybody. No one could call him anymore because he doesn't answer his phone. Video games have definitely had an adverse impact on his social relationships. Some other signs of video games addictions, definitely depression, because I think that the lack of social contact my friend has had has led him to become depressed. Like when you step into that like first-person shooter game, or you have the ball in a basketball game, you feel like that's you, and that's really not you. People end up living like video games are not real. They're not real life. Most people are not going to go to the NBA. Most people are not going to play football. Most people are not going to fight aliens in their life. But it almost like tricks people into being in like a fake world, like video games are fake, so that's what they live in. They're not in tune with reality.
I think what Marco said about online games being more addictive is true because, you know, like he said, it's like a whole nother reality. Like people can live their own lives through it.
Have any of you guys played online video games? What do you think makes them so addictive?
I think the fact that you're actually playing with people from around the world and not just a computer where it just repeats the same thing over and over again. Like, you're gonna get something different every time you face like a certain person. I think the fact that you have that kind of thing really makes it different and addictive.
Now, like with any online game, you can buy a headset. So it has a switch where you can talk to people or you can just listen to what they're saying.
I look at when people talk about addictions to video games and I say to myself, obviously online games have to be a contributor somewhere. So therefore I try to avoid them. I mean, I would play one and it really it couldn't keep my interest. Regardless of who I was meeting, yes, I was meeting new people, but I could still meet new people in real life.
I think online games make it seem more real because you're actually talking to people and it's not just you and a computer, it's more tangible.
Yeah, I would agree with you because I'd rather play online with real people than play video games when I have a chance to play with like nobody. I think it's more funner online.
Yeah, like I played an online game once and at first it was okay, but I was like, this is boring, like what's the point of it? Because like people sometimes said really stupid things and I was like, this makes no sense, so I just stopped playing right after that.
According to the MediaWise organization, some estimate that 8.5% of gamers may be video game addicts. So
what do you do if your friend falls into that 8.5%?
Marco has some advice in this area.
Let's check it out.
Some advice I can give to people who are addicted to video games is turn to things that are more productive. Turn to your friends because most people, as they get older, to draw video games isn't as much, and they kind of inch away from that. So try and follow them. It's obviously hard at first to step away, but it's easier as time goes on. And also do things like homework and go to church and things that will further your life. Video games are really not going to do anything for you. If you pray about it every day, I do believe God hears you and He works in mysterious ways. Maybe the one time that you call Him, his phone is actually near Him and He answers, and you finally get Him to go out that one time. While some people will say that's just chance, I do believe that God is behind that. So I do think that praying does have a positive effect on getting a friend out of a video game addiction. When I pray every day, If I do pray for him, which is a lot, I think about it every day, and thinking about it every day causes me to call him more, causes me to text him more, causes me to talk to him online more, and it makes me want him to get back, to get back to the friendship we used to have, because I do feel really bad that, as his best friend, I really couldn't keep him away from this, and almost that it's my job that I kind of have to try and get him out of it.
I think that a lot of people grow out of having an obsession for video games, but for some it can become an addiction. We shouldn't waste energy blaming ourselves if a friend gets addicted.
But we should step in to try to help them. Some other ways to help would be to talk to their parents or get them to talk to a youth minister or school counselor.
It's also important to remember that stopping the behavior doesn't stop the addiction. Your support and caring presence can help your friend gain the strength to continue to conquer this addiction on a regular basis.
Do you guys have any other advice?
Well, I think you should try and get your friends out of the house as much as possible. Make them see that they don't have to spend their time playing video games, that they can come and hang out with you.
Yeah, and if they have a talent that they have, but they don't usually use it, invite them over and help play with them with that thing. If it's baseball or basketball, just have them play a game. Eventually, they might just start playing it more and start forgetting about the video games.
Well, if they were into some kind of thing before they got addicted to the video game, say it wasn't out yet, try and get them back into that and try and get them to be good at it again.
You should also let them know how unhealthy it is just to sit on the couch playing video games for hours and hours.
Next, let's find out if the teens in the street believe that someone's faith could help them to overcome a video game addiction.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, I think, someone's faith can help you get through pretty much everything. So including video game addiction, yeah, I think you can look into your faith and find a way to, get out of any addiction.
Yeah. If you pray, it probably could go away. I don't know.
Nah, I don't believe that.
No, I don't know about faith. I have no idea.
No, I mean, it's basically once you get tired of the game, you just get tired of it. Basically, that's how I see it.
It depends what kind of what problems they had in their life. So
do you think God can help them to stop it?
If they see it's a real problem, yeah, God could help them stop it.
Yeah, if they actually sit down and realize that it's not the best thing for them to be doing every single day.
Oh yeah, if they go to church more, read the Bible. I think if you, focus on something else, it'll take your mind off games.
I think it can help, but I don't think it can make them stop playing. I think once you get hooked, you're hooked.
I think faith in God can help anybody get over any type of addiction, and video game is just kind of low on the totem pole. You have your drug addictions and alcohol addictions, and video game addictions is no different than anything else.
In an addiction, that to which you become addicted becomes the most important thing in your life.
You begin to order your life around this addiction.
In a way, the addiction can become like a false idol and take the place of God in your life.
So, what are some other ways you see God or someone's faith helpful in overcoming this addiction to video games?
I think that if you just pray that that God will stand by them, that they'll somehow get through it, and you've got to stand by them also through their temper tantrums and support them by getting out of their addiction.
Like that guy said, one of the teens on the street, you have to understand that all addictions, God can help you. Now, I'm sure any video game addict would love to play a video game on a screen like that, but if they understand that God is there for them, that there's a higher power there waiting for them to helping them through anything that they need to get help with, they can probably overcome any obstacle in their life.
Also, trying to get a person who's addicted to video games to go to church and show them other parts of life, bringing them to youth group, showing them different things that are God-related and are fun. They would often probably get more into that rather than simply sticking with video games.
In the Gospels of Mark and Matthew, Jesus gives alarming advice to his disciples about what to do with anything that interferes with having a right relationship with God.
He taught, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off.
It is better for you to enter into life maimed than with 2 hands to go into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire.
Overcoming a gaming addiction or an addiction to anything that takes over your life and skews your priorities means cutting out that to which you are addicted.
Of course, Jesus was using a metaphor. He was speaking figuratively. But the point is that there can be no halfway measures.
If you are truly addicted to video games, you just can't scale back and play them once in a while. You have to cut them out of your life altogether.
This does sound harsh and hard, but rest assured, even if you have lost your way in your addiction, God is looking for you.
Like in the parable of the lost sheep that Jesus follows with the lesson previously mentioned,
God is always searching for ways to help one that has gone astray to recover.
He is sending out rescue parties in the form of your friends, your parents, your youth ministers, and your teachers.
You just have to turn around and ask for help.
If you're not sure who you should turn to if you're struggling with a video game addiction, or if you have a friend who is, you can call the Girls and Boys Town National Hotline at 800-448-3000.
That's 800-448-3000.
Of course, we always love to hear from you, and we'll have other resources posted on our website.
Check it out at www.realfaithtv.com.
And one final thought to keep in mind.
Our relationship with Christ makes overcoming this kind of temptation possible.
Jesus frees us from the chains of sin, from the slavery of addictions,
liberating us from their influence so that we can choose what is good.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.